So this video today is the cardinal lesson talking about the Federal Task Force on Long-Term Care Insurance. And you take one look at that and you say, well, oh boy, I bet there's a lot of really cool stuff that came out of that. And actually there is. So the federal government, along with the state insurance departments, got together with this task force of people that could actually do something. And in my summary of this whole thing, it just looks like what they're doing is just not working. I mean, the government has a desire that a large percentage of the population that's aging would have proper long-term care insurance in force so that they can use private options to get care in their home, to get home health care, to go to an assisted living, and this wouldn't be breaking up and ruining their whole estate and causing them to spend down their money. So the government has an interest really in you buying long-term care insurance. And it sounds fairly self-serving coming from an insurance agent, but I've been part of this industry for a long time, and my mother suffered from Alzheimer's in the end of her life, and fortunately she had a really nice long-term care policy in force that was able to pay for that care at the end of her life. So sold to her by her son. And so this task force, they really got together because what they're doing is not working. Only 10% of the people that can buy and should buy and can afford to buy long-term care insurance have a policy, which leaves 90% of the people uninsured. And so they're just looking at themselves and their regulations and looking at us, the insurance companies, the insurance agents. I'm a financial planner, and I recommend this in retirement plans. They're just looking at the whole industry and they're saying, what we're doing is not working. What could we do differently to improve things and greatly increase the number of people that are planning for this and protecting themselves from long-term care with insurance? And so, one of the first takeaways is they need to create better and more affordable policies. And so I think that they're going to go through and they're going to find the shortcomings in some policies, and they've certainly done that over time, but they're also looking, one of the biggest shortcomings in a lot of these policies is they're just expensive. When you really cover this risk properly, and you're doing this in your 50s and 60s, and you're buying a policy, it's expensive. I mean, expensive is relative, but they're looking at this, and as soon as you start lowering the price, you take away benefits. So this is a general, and there was a lot more to this in the meat of the study, but this is good. And what I'm going to take you down to the fifth takeaway is they have in there about short-term care insurance and encouraging the purchase of short-term care insurance. So what I would say back to them is they've already done this. This has already been created through short-term care insurance, and those policies are available in about 37 states today. So I would just encourage them to maybe work on the other 14 states. But for you folks that are listening to this today, we have very affordable and with good coverage a product that's called short-term care or recovery care that's going to pay for about a year of home health care, and it's going to pay for a year in assisted living. Not comprehensive enough to cover all claims, but is certainly very helpful to the people that have it in force. And that's not counted in that 10% number, by the way. The next thing is offering more benefits to policyholders that buy long-term care insurance before they actually are on a claim, like as home modifications, having things available through an iPad or a telemedicine where they can do things to help you, maybe a small benefit to pay for relatives to come care for you or sit with you at home. There's lots of benefits that can be added to long-term care policies that actually encourage a person or move out the date of which they're going to need full-blown long-term care. This whole subject of inflation, the inflation benefit, especially for somebody that buys in their 50s and 60s, maybe in their 40s, we have people buy it as early as in their 40s. Inflation is very important because they might not use this thing for 40, 50 years, 30 years, but it's expensive. And so the government is fairly restrictive in the current long-term care policies in terms of what we can offer. So you don't really want to blame the insurance companies for this, because they have guidelines in the state insurance departments of what you can offer for inflation, and sometimes requiring you to offer inflation. And they're simply encouraging some more widening of that and widening of the options that can make the policies less expensive. And then the last subject is just talking about educating the public. And that's what we feel like we're doing through these videos. In my book, I certainly give, in the workbook, I give some teaching and learning about long-term care and where it fits appropriately, how it makes a difference in people's lives. So I'm Hans Scheil, and I thank you for listening.